Well, hello! Welcome back. Slammer Sunday with Johnny Tiger. This week, we decided to combine both Fitness Friday and Survival Saturday into one episode. Yeah, I sound like I did this on purpose, but no. I got too busy and missed 2 days in a row. But you know what? Lately, I've been training my guys in a little bit of groundwork, grappling, and what comes with that are grappling and groundwork related workouts that are rather unconventional, but nonetheless super important. So I decided, hey, if I have to do both videos, I might as well lump it into one. We can talk a little bit about grappling and we can get a workout in. Perfect. Today's date is September 11, 2022. Now, I'm sure most of you uh, get tired of seeing other news and hearing about what's going on, what happened 21 years ago, and all that stuff. A lot of people talking about it, so let's not dwell on it. The news is a depressing place these days. The past 2 days, I hear nothing about the war in Ukraine, the passing of Elizabeth II, and the September 11th. So, yeah, very depressing stuff. Luckily, the kind of activities we'll be doing today is not only great for your grappling and wrestling, but also a little bit therapeutic. If you have a grappling dummy, this would be ideal. But since I don't have a grappling dummy, what I have is a heavy punching bag that I filled myself. This is a 60, 70 pound, good weight. Now it's a little bit short, but for our purpose, it's good enough. One thing about when you are training in grappling based martial art, close quarter fighting, a lot of it is coordination, lifting, what muscles to use when you lift, what body posture to use when you lift, and how to use a minimum amount of energy to get the greatest amount of result. Otherwise, you may find yourself gassing out after two throws, after having to get off the floor 2 times. Okay, so it's great to lift weight. It's great to do your push-up. It's great to do calisthenic and resistance band and all that stuff. But when you're dealing with handling the weight of another human being, anyone who trained in wrestling would instantly know what I'm talking about. When you're dealing with another person's weight and a resisting, wiggling, fighting, twisting person, on top of that, it's a completely different game, which is why we're using something heavy, like a training dummy or a pre-filled heavy bag like this. If you don't have a pre-filled heavy bag, don't worry. Take a big bed sheet and roll up a bunch of blanket and stuff like that. The blanket, old clothes, underwear, uh, foam rollers inside the bed sheet, and then take a rope and tie it up tight, and you'll get about the same kind of workout. It's not quite as heavy, but it's still going to give you a workout nonetheless. I'm going to show you guys 3 separate throw or slam today using this heavy bag, and we'll walk through them one at a time. Number one is a very simple judo style hip toss, and we are going to do this in the workout form. So with the heavy bag standing on the floor in front of me, I'm going to enter by stepping my right foot in at a diagonal. So the back of my right knee on the side of my right hip is now bumping up against the bag. Okay, from this position, I'm going to grab the bag with my right arm by throwing my right arm around it like I'm going to say hi to a good friend. Okay, from this position, I'm going to push with my leg and swing with my arm and throw the bag across. And then we reposition the bag in front of us, stand it up in front of us. We enter, step through, bump it with our hip, right arm go around the bag and through. Setting it up again. By the way, make sure you don't do this near furniture or something that can get broken. Again, we set up the bag, stand it out in front of me. I step in to the back of my right knee and my right hip, touching the bag. Okay, like I'm going to trip it, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to throw my arm around there, like, come here, buddy. Throw it. Stand it back up again. Step through and repeat. Now we're going to do the other side. This time, I stand the bag up in front of me. I step through with my left leg. And my left knee, left hip is against the bag. I lean down, throw my arm around the bag, like I got my arm around the waist of somebody. And then I lift and throw. Now, when I'm lifting, I'm not using my arm at all. My arm is just there to hold the person or the bag in position. When I lift, I'm mostly pushing with my leg and then rotating my hip to swing that bag across. When you do it to a real person, it's a lot more spectacular than doing it to the bag. But this is what we have. This is what we have to work with. So again, left side, positioning the bag in front of me, standing up. I step through, left leg hooked over the front of the bag, my knee, my hip touching the bag, my left arm grab it like give me a good friend a good squeeze, and then I lift with my hip and throw. Next, I'm going to show you guys the standard overhead slam. Now this one, you got to be very, very careful. Don't rush the form because you may hurt your back if you start to arch backward. So everything, you want to keep your core nice and tight. Nice and tight. Okay? So this one is simple. The bag standing in front of me. I drop down on one knee, my arms clasping around the bag or on either side of the bag. Just like if there's a person in front of me, I'm going to clasp my hand on the side of the leg. I clasp the side of the bag, and from here I keep it nice and tight to me. I straighten out, thrust it to the ceiling, okay, all the way straight, and then step forward, slam it down. Okay, there should be no leaning back or very little. Right? If you start to lean back, it's too heavy. Okay, you got to work on this a little bit because if you lean back with a bag, it's no biggie. But if it's a live person and you start to lean back, both of you is going to fall back and the person is going to drop right on top of you. You are the one that's going to get hurt. Okay? So make sure you keep your core nice and tight, your stance, your leg nice and tight. When you thrust this up into the air, and then you step forward and slam. Right? Very simple gesture, but very difficult with a weight like this. Let's look at this again. The bag in front of me, this kind of symbolizes the person's lower half, right? Uh, I'm going to enter by stepping forward with my left foot, dropping my right knee to the ground. My hand come and clasp the side of the bag like I'm grasping onto the person's leg. And then from here, I thrust up, lift, step forward, and slam. Now, when you're doing this in a grappling or fighting situation, obviously there's no need to thrust the person overhead like this. Right? That you don't need to do that. But the thrusting overhead is to condition your core, your body, so it's not wobbly even when you're thrusting up like that. Because in real life, the person most likely will be a lot heavier than this, will be fighting back. So if you want to pick them up like this, even though you're not bringing them overhead, you still need immense body control, body posture. This is why we are adding the thrusting overhead, so you can check if you're wobbly, if you're staggering, right? But it's not what you would do in real, okay? If you in real, I would mostly just lift like this and slam it down. Like I would only bring it up to my chest or belly level, okay? But for the workout, we will thrust it overhead. So again, this time I'm going to use my left side, or I'm going to drop down to my left knee. So this time I'm going to step forward with my right foot, dropping down to my left knee, clasping the person or the bag around the side with my hand, stand up, thrust up, step forward and slam. Next, similar but quite more complex in body posture. It's a lunge, forward lunge, shoulder slam. What is the forward lunge shoulder slam? This time, I'm going to have the bag in front of me. I'm going to a forward lunge with my left foot, dropping my right knee down to the ground. But rather than grasping the side of the bag this time, I'm going to just throw my right arm around it like this. And this time, when I come up, I'll hoist the bag over my shoulder like this, over my right shoulder. And then, now, let me show you guys the real version, the real life. What if this was a person, right? If this was a person, once I get them up like this, I would just throw them back, let their head land on the floor like that. Okay? But for this exercise, because it's all about control, so we're not going to throw the bag backward for this one. For this one, I lunge, I drop down to one knee, I hoist the bag up over my shoulders. I'm going to do another lunge forward and slam it down to the floor, following it down with my hand. So I'm not just throwing it, I'm slamming my body following down. So when the bag is on the floor, I can immediately drop down to ground and pound. Let's look at that again. Forward lunge, shoulder slam. Bag is standing out. I'm lunging with my left foot, dropping to my right knee. My right arm clasps the bag around the middle. I lift it over my shoulder, lunge, slam. Immediately following down to punching. One more time. This time we'll do the left side. So I'm going to lunge with my right leg, dropping to my left knee, throwing my left arm around the bed and lift over my shoulder, and then I lunge, slam it down, dropping it down, punching. Like I said, very unconventional kind of workout, but definitely a good workout. You will work out with good sweat if you do 10 on each side. This is great for those of you who are interested in grappling, how to up your judo game, jiu-jitsu game, wrestling game. Thank you for checking out today's episode. We'll be back again later for some Soul Search Sunday. For now, have a good rest of the day.